So recently Unknown was verified by Diamond after just over 35,000 attempts, on the same day as Unnerfed Innards gets verified and Acheron gets a buff date, which is, we'll just say, controversial. So today I'm going to give my thoughts on the level and why I actually think it's pretty good. Okay, so starting off with the gameplay, I actually think the gameplay is actually kind of interesting. There are a few jumps in this level, especially towards the beginning, that are a little bit interesting. Some pretty weird timings that honestly look really horrible to play, but are still pretty interesting to watch. Then for a little bit we get a little bit of ball and cube gameplay, but mostly just wacky wave and ship gameplay, and oh, the level's over. Yeah, this level's really short, clocking in at around, like, roughly 40-ish seconds. Which is fine. I don't usually like short levels as much. I like it when harder levels are usually longer so that it's more enjoyable to play throughout the entire level and not just shoving a lot of difficulty into a small amount of time. But also a lot of today's top players also are very challenge list heavy, and this level is pretty challenge list-esque. We got the wacky ship gameplay, we got the wacky wave gameplay, some weird cube timings, I mean, yeah, challenge list gameplay. Which is fine. I mean, this is kind of how the original level was as well, because this is a redecoration of an impossible level. And the difficulty isn't squished into like 12 seconds of the level like Sakupin Circles, it's actually a little bit more evenly distributed from what I can tell. But I don't really have a problem with it being shorter because it doesn't really come off as lazy in this level, whereas it does in a lot of other levels that tend to be shorter. And while that does mean overall the level is going to be very hard gameplay for a short amount of time and probably less fun, it's not forcing itself to be top 1, which is a lot better than what we can say for a lot of recent upcoming extremes. Moving on to the decoration, and by this I mean the redeco. The redeco is actually pretty good in my opinion. The gameplay alone isn't really enough to make this a memorable level, but there are some decoration bits that kind of make the level stand out. For example, the infamous blinking clubstep monster is awesome. I wish we saw that more in just levels in general. There's some very interesting layering in some of the block designs, especially in the ship part towards the beginning, and some cool details that make it less static and more interesting, just small moving objects and animations. It's also a very dark level, but it's not the golden dark, like you can still see the decoration. And combined with the song and some of the sort of twitching block designs, it makes for a very interesting atmosphere. If I'm not mistaken, this level was also made with a lot of the same creators that collaborated for the Sakupin Circles redeco, and I definitely do think that this is an improvement from that in pretty much every way possible. Yeah, I'm not a Sakupin Circles guy myself. Overall, the deco itself isn't too special, but it has enough uniqueness and a few gimmicks that make it look pretty interesting, or at the very least more memorable compared to the sea of just hell and glow stuff. So moving on to the question if it will get rated or not, this level is pretty short and is almost more like a challenge level. The difference being that challenge levels have to be under 30 seconds, so technically this doesn't count as a challenge level, it's in sort of a gray area between that and what is usually rated. I can't speak for the gameplay, but it seems to be just being difficult for the sake of being difficult, but honestly, what else did anyone expect? The decoration itself, I would say, is definitely rate-worthy because it has some interesting things to bring to the table, even if it's not the most memorable thing, and it's not a carbon copy red and black extreme demon that we're all used to. So I'm automatically gonna like it at least to some degree. That being said, I don't think the decoration is good enough to make it rate-worthy even though it's 40 seconds long. Like I said, I don't have much of a problem with this level specifically being shorter, but it does kind of become a conundrum on whether it makes it unrate-worthy. Because a lot of levels that are shorter do not get rated. Like, it's a pretty established fact that usually you would probably want your level to be at least a minute long in order for it to get rated. However, levels such as Arcturus or Sakupin Circles usually get exceptions because they're so hard and usually potential top 1s, but this isn't a potential top 1, so it's possible this just won't get rated. My preference would be that it doesn't get rated. That being said, I really don't care if it does get rated. It's not like this is a really bad level by any means. It's just that usually levels will do something special in order to get rated to justify it being under a minute long. So obviously Sakupin Circles and Arcturus, for that, it was because it's a potential top 1. Whereas this doesn't really do enough to justify its length as much in my opinion. But like I just said, I don't care if it gets rated, I just wouldn't really campaign for it. So yeah, that's the video, those are my thoughts on Unknown. Leave your thoughts on the level down in the comments, I want to hear. I did do a community post about this, and about half of you said it was good, so I decided to make a video on it. Just a shorter video to hold you guys over between bigger projects, because I haven't been uploading as much recently, got a lot of IRL stuff going on. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. And subscribe, I forgot to say that, subscribe.